Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, so as I was walking today, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about, and what I wanted to say that would be relevant and would be helpful to other people in their marriages. And through this walk, the last 400 miles or so that I've done thus far, towards the 500 miles from marriage, I've been thinking a lot, and the subject continues to come up to me every single step almost. But the question is how do we safeguard our marriages? How do we safeguard our marriages from all those that don't want you married, from all the negative outside influences, all the intruders out there? How do we safeguard them, right? I mean, we'll take the time and invest all sorts of money to buy safes and lock up our guns so they don't hurt people. We'll even make laws to protect us from guns, right? We'll hide away our jewels and our gems and diamonds, lock them up in safes, make sure they're protected so they don't get lost or stolen. And we'll even insure them in the fact that they do get stolen, that they're still protected, right? But we won't make the same investment in our marriage, right? And so I recognize this, and I don't know why we won't, but we won't. So what really happens in a marriage, and how can we choose to safeguard it, right? Well, when two people get married, right? When we're dating, we walk down this road together, all of our friends and our family, all of our loved ones, they're actually sitting there championing us, right? They're saying the best things possible about us to our spouses. They're helping the relationship grow and flourish. They want to see us succeed in that relationship, right? And those people will show up to our wedding. They'll stand on the sides of our wedding. They'll cheer as we walk down the aisle. They'll promise to be there in hard times, and that they'll always stand behind us in those hard times, right? But what happens in marriage is that we go into a marriage as two people, and we become one. We become flesh and bone. And so naturally, after you get married and you become flesh and bone, you created this family with this woman or this man, and you start working towards building a family and having children. Time becomes short and less of it, more precious, and you start spending more and more time with your loved one working on building a family, and your priorities shift and change. And all those friends and loved ones that once championed your relationship start to feel neglected. They start to feel left out. They start to feel hurt. And this isn't anybody's fault. It's just a natural occurrence with the change, with the shift in paradigm of the relationship, the dynamic of the relationship, right? So those people, those same friends that stood there and cheered and rooted you to succeed with this marriage, will also be the ones that start to complain about your marriage, right? They'll start to complain that your spouse has taken you away from them, that they're too controlling, that you don't even like the things that you do, whatever they say, but they'll start complaining. And for a while, we ignore it. But then our relationship falls on hard times. And when it falls on hard times, that's when we go to the same people that are complaining to us, and we complain about our spouse, we complain about our husband, we complain about our wife. And those people, not on purpose, just again, a natural occurrence, they don't have an objective perspective. They actually feel hurt and they're wounded, and they say things from a different perspective of a person that felt abandoned or hurt, and they're angry at your spouse, not because of something your spouse did, but because your marriage and your union took you away from them, right? And so when they give you advice, they say things that out of hurt or pain towards your spouse, and it really just draws a bigger wedge and puts a a larger gap and a larger wedge between you and your spouse. And so even though they had best intentions, it really can kind of hurt things. So how do we safeguard our marriage from that, right? Well, the first way that we do it is we got to recognize that our marriage, when we get married, our marriage and our spouse comes second only to God. Comes before all of our friends, comes before all of our family, comes before all of, even our children. Our marriage and our spouse comes first and second only to God. It's the most important relationship we have on this earth. And you got to really say it. Like, I mean, seriously, you got to say it. Like, you got to say, like, my marriage comes second only to God. My relationship with Sonia is the most important relationship in my life, second only to God. And once you say that, once you vocalize it, like really vocalize it with conviction, you've liberated yourself from a way of thinking, and you've freed yourself to be a real husband, a real wife. I'm getting bit. And allowed you to go out there and do what you need to do for your children and your wife and your kids, your husband and your wife, your husband and your kids, right? It really frees you to be a good husband or a good wife. Put you in that mind frame. And the second way we can safeguard our marriage is by bringing God into our house, into our four walls. Like, bring prayer to the dinner table, bring prayer to the daily or nightly routine of putting the kids down to sleep. Go to church and worship. But not only just do it, put it to action. Like, put God's will to action, right? And really think about what we're here to teach our children. And one of the best lessons you can ever teach your kids is that marriage isn't easy. Family isn't easy. But you never give up on your marriage, and you never give up on your family, right? You always have faith. You always have hope. And that love always perseveres. And you love your spouse and you love your family unconditionally, no matter what. And when you teach that type of foundation of love, hope, and faith to your children, you're giving them a foundation that allows them to go out into the world and to be successful in their relationships and their lives and their marriages. And it really becomes something that can change the world and change every family and change everything we know. Right? So let's work together here to safeguard our marriages and really change the world for the better. Let's take a stand for marriage and realize that the sanctity of marriage and family is so much more important than anything else out there. Your kids need you. Your family needs you. And that's what God wants. I mean, geez, look at the sky right here. It's unbelievable. But all I can say is I want to leave you with this. I want to say that, there's a cute couple over here. They're loving each other. So what I want to say is that you, I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Safeguard your marriage. Say it with conviction that your man, your wife, your marriage comes second only to God. Prioritize it. Put it on that pedestal that it belongs on. And then bring God and his teachings into your home. My brother and I were very fortunate that my parents did a lot of work when we were young and made church a part of our lives and really helped build the foundation that is allowing me to fight this fight right now and know the importance of marriage and the importance of family. And it's one thing that I probably made a mistake on is I didn't do a good job leading my family to church. I went out and led them to adventures and fun and all this rad stuff that I love to do. And I'm so enthralled and so stoked to be a dad. And as my kids get older, I just want to constantly run and play and have fun with them. And I just want to watch my kids grow older and learn and grow into these amazing human beings with my wife, right? But it's always important to bring God into your family and really learn the lessons and shine a huge light on the importance of your marriage, the importance of your family, and do God's will. So, love you guys. On that note, check out that beautiful sunset out there, and hope all's well. I'll be back tomorrow with another message and how we can take a stand for marriage together. Love you guys.